elevating women of color in our community while also filling the void of safe, Black-centered spaces in Rochester. That is part of the mission of Flower City Noir Collective. The nonprofit is working to promote activism, social justice, and reproductive justice for women of all ages and racial and ethnic backgrounds. In the studio to share more about the work and outreach of Flower City Noir Collective are its founders, Kristen Walker and Tanya Noel Stevens, and welcome to you both.
Hello.
So just to begin, what did you initially set out to create when you launched Flower City Noir Collective?
A space where I wanted to be. I'm from Rochester, and there wasn't a book club that I could join or that was available, or like a place where it was women like me there, so I went to create a space where people like me could be and be free.
Do you want to add to that, Tanya?
A safe space, really.
Yeah.
Just a safe space for us. We were a part of other organizations already, and it was like, but what about this and what about that? So it's like so many different intersections. So it's like, let's highlight these intersections and then make sure like we're doing the most possible for this space. So that's really what we were looking for, and that's what we created.
And when you say a safe space, explain what that means for viewers. Like, what is the ideal safe space for women of color in Rochester?
A place where I can feel affirmed in all of my identities. Like, I can come and be my most ratchet self, be my most politically correct self, be my most whatever I'm feeling that day, and I'll be affirmed in that. And we can have conversations about everything, because so many times, like, there's so many things that's like, shh, especially like in the Black community, there's just certain things that we don't talk about. So it's like just creating a space so we can have all of those conversations, have all of those dialogues. Things as simple as not using certain baby powder or things like that. But you know, those things that like maybe our grandmother or people have been telling us to use for years, and it's like, no, we actually shouldn't do that. So just creating a space where you're having those conversations.
Yes.
Well, I understand the mission from day one really was also to have, in addition to the safe space, allow the space to really nurture and support and elevate women. And I want to know, there's this emphasis on elevation. How do you do it?
Well, by centering women of color and Black women, because that's how I identify and that's how Noel identifies as like a Black woman. In so many spaces, it's like we're at the very bottom, if ever considered. If we look at our school systems, we're Black women. If we look at just our working in our industry, like we are Black women represented there. So elevating, like, we're here, we matter, we make all of these things possible, and listening to us is really important.
Well, Flower City Noir Collective has an active bi-weekly book club, a community garden, an activism, and social justice arm that really mobilizes women to attend marches, such as March for Black Women in DC, in addition to other efforts that we'll get to. I want to start with the book club, and you mentioned this first thing.
Yes.
So you've got about 20 women that gather every single month, twice a month, to go over essays, author analysis. You do dig into backgrounds in terms of the issues of any certain book that you're looking at. And I want to know, how are you seeing this club and the conversations taking place from this book club elevate women?
It's a beautiful thing to see how that happens. So we only read books written by women of color, Black women specifically. And so going into their analysis of the author really gives the people who come, which is a mix or a diverse group of people, a chance to really learn their story, identify with their story, see their story in that story. And it's just really beautiful. And so that's what I call it.
Also, it creates space for everyone. So like, so many times there's spaces for women, but like you can't bring your kids and stuff like that. So like we create space where it's like we'll have child care set up where you're not necessarily the one like rendering care right now. So like, you know, they're in good hands, but you're also getting knowledge that you then can dispense to your children, you know, because that's most likely going to be the conversation when you're leaving. Like we provide like fun but important conversations for your children, and then fun but important conversations for you too. So it's like really building a whole family. So that was just a really important part that we wanted to build into what we were doing.
What are you hearing from attendees who are seeing themselves, right, and the characters and the authors of these books, and then discussing them? What does that do for an individual?
It lightens up their whole spirit. Finding those like just small like bits of like familiarity in those stories is beautiful, and it gives people, I feel like the Black women that come to our book club specifically, a space just to be like, just to let go and let down their guard and like have these conversations and like make their point heard and validate it in that space. And that's what we try to do in our affirming and just book club generally.
Fiction and nonfiction, or predominantly fiction?
Fiction and nonfiction.
Okay.
Like when we read Zombie by Audre Lorde, just the fact that these are some people's first experience with Audre Lorde altogether. So it's her bio mythology.
Okay.
So there's some fact and there's some fiction in it, but it's just so much, and there's so much personal things that you can connect to. You just kind of find yourself as she's finding herself, and it's the same thing with Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler. Both of those are fiction works, but they can relate so closely to what's happening right now in our lives that you can't help but find yourself in that book and then look at your viewpoints and compare them to those, like, why do I feel this way? Right. How can I change these things in my life? Or empower you to feel like, well, if she did this and she was just a girl, like, what could I do? What can I take on in my world and make real changes in my life? So
it sounds like in part you're combining a little bit of literature with a bit of activism at the same time.
Yes. A degree at work, and I think that's a really important part that you mentioned. Like, it really is literature. So I went to school, and my minor is English, and so that's really a passion of mine, is reading and connecting and doing these things. And we're able to do that and make literature not this like collegiate experience, but this like real like sidewalk experience, because we have it in the community.
We went to a conference in 2016 called
the Black Radical Tradition.
The Black Radical Tradition, and so that was one of the key points of that, is like being able to educate our communities in different ways. So that's really what we were looking at. Like, all these things are going on. We desperately need like political education, but like, how do we do that? How are we able to package that and make it something that people can actually attain and actually come to and make time for? So that's what we did. Like, we'll read some politics, we'll read some fiction, but we'll all have these conversations, and that'll really change things. So that's what we're going for.
I have to make sure we spend a couple minutes on a campaign that you have underway right now. It's the Harriet House campaign, and I understand the purpose is to raise funds to rehab a family home on Seward Street to serve as really this hub for the Flower City Noir Collective, and also a place where Rochester women can go and they can get activism training, health and wellness support, and a variety of other things. How do you see the Harriet House just serving women in this community?
In all those ways you mentioned. We had a conversation today about how when we think of like efforts to help people out, help communities, we give out free condoms, but we don't often see free tampons or free like sanitary napkins and things like that happening. So it's really like, this could be that place. Like, we're really changing the narrative of what service looks like and what activism looks like in our community. And I think it's gonna be beautiful to see so many women in this space, like have a garden, have a homestead, learn canning as a trade, learn gardening, farming as a trade, learn these things. It's gonna be beautiful, and I'm really excited about it.
And not just as a trade, but as an act of self-sustainability, as an act of resistance. So that's why we kind of originally even got into gardening. It was like as an act of resistance. Like, we were doing actual resistance work, like protesting and things like that. But it's like, how do we sustain this? And it's through knowing how to do things ourselves. So if we have a house, then we can do workshops, and we can, again, have all of these conversations in a safe space. And just, so what it gives the women in Rochester is just a place to go. Like, there's so many nonprofits in Rochester, and they cover just a range of different things, but they're not really like personal. It's not like you can come chill at someone's grandma's house, basically, and have these conversations and come out and feel like,
You said grandma's house, and this is a family home that runs through your family.
Yes,
is that right?
Okay. This is my parents purchased this house about a year before I was born, so almost 30 years ago.
Okay. And are you modeling this home after a house that you've seen somewhere else in the country?
When we did, so this year we'll be going to Flint. It'll be our third service trip to Flint. So when we go to Flint, we stay in Detroit. So we stayed in the Hush House in Detroit, and they have a few different homes. They have gardens. So we were modeling really after what they were doing there. They had Zora's house in Cleveland.
In Ohio.
In Ohio.
And also a model of this. So like, when people are taking homes like in communities, which is changing what healthcare looks like and changing what activism looks like. It's like, it's literally on this street among all these other family homes, and it's this workspace, and it's this dynamic space of transformation.
Before we close, how much more do you need to go in terms of funding to get this house up and running?
We're trying to get to our goal of $8,000 by the end of the year. So we should just round it up and say $10,000. But that is our goal that we're trying to hit by the end of the year.
All right, well, we have to close for now, but a huge thank you to you both, Kristen and Tanya, for joining me and for sharing more about the great work that you're doing in our community. To get involved with Flower City Noir Collective, learn more, to contribute, go to flowercitynoircollective.org.